Hello, everyone out there. I am Spec, and you are listening to Spec Commentaries, the 18th edition of this audio video blog special in which I discuss a topic in the world of professional wrestling, athletics, which could range from basketball all the way through hockey or any other form of entertainment. But it's really a platform in which I will discuss some element in the world of entertainment, and most notably professional wrestling. And it's been quite some time since I have uploaded an episode of Spec Commentaries. I am definitely going to be doing this more often as I continue to build upon B-Spec Productions. And for those who want to have a little bit more detailed information about B-Spec Productions, please visit the Facebook page as you see on the visual at www.facebook.com/bspecprod for some more information pertaining to the company as well as information overall pertaining to the world of professional wrestling and entertainment. Well, as you can see on the marquee, this episode is going to be concerning women's wrestling, most notably through the WWE, titled, Where's the Revolution? And for those who have been paying very close attention to the WWE over the last year, they have been struggling considerably in terms of the creativity of their product. Can't necessarily say the same thing in terms of their financials, although to the contrary, there has been some reports in terms of a decline in several aspects of their revenue stream. But we're not going to go too deep into that today and concerning this topic because, quite frankly, it is not as irrelevant to the overall discussion. For those who do know me, I'm a huge fan of professional wrestling, but specifically women's wrestling. I go out my way throughout several social media channels to express my love and my passion for the industry overall, but especially when it comes to women's wrestling. You know, for far too long, women have gotten I would say they've gotten the shaft in current terms of the business overall. Women have been a very, very integral part to professional wrestling, going all the way back to the days of Mildred Burke, but you can go even further than that. Women have made a very important impact in the world of wrestling. Although it has gone unnoticed for several decades, I feel as if over the last 20 years we have been able to see a true revolution, so to speak, in terms of women being more accepted a little bit more in terms of pro wrestling in general. And you can kind of see that manifest itself into pop culture as well, and entertainment and the workforce, all those things. Women have shown a steady progression over the last 20 plus years in getting more independence as well as getting more acceptance overall. But as it pertains to professional wrestling, this topic is, I would say it's a hotbed topic going on right now within the internet wrestling community. And it really does center around the WWE right now. Now, despite the WWE's shortcomings of late in terms of the creativity of their company, make no mistake about it, they have a lot of talented women on their roster. I think the biggest concern on my end is how are they actually being used and utilized? A lot of the issues that are going on right now in terms of the WWE stemming from their creativity has a lot to do with Vince McMahon overall and his thought process on how he feels his company should be ran. And you're talking about a 73-plus-year-old man that has a lot more interest outside of wrestling. He has interest in the the XFL. He has interest in, so many different forms of entertainment to make his business great. But when you really look down and down at the entire situation right now at the WWE, what is their true focus and what are they really wanting to do? And I think that's been a big issue going on for a while. And it has really manifested itself really strongly in terms of women's wrestling in the WWE. Now, I haven't personally seen a really good storyline involving the women for quite some time. And if you take away the Ronda Rousey and the Becky Lynch storyline that was emerging for WrestleMania 35, what has this company really done with their women? And it's really mind-boggling when you see the success that Shimmer, Shine, and you also have Queens of Combat, who I'm a huge supporter of and attend several of their shows throughout the Carolinas. It's mind-boggling that we really have a revolution going on outside of the WWE that's really legit, and you see progression with these companies. And in many cases, a lot of the talent that you see in WWE came through those organizations. And you look into WWE, which is supposed to be the mecca and the number one wrestling company and to give you the biggest platform, yet they don't do a lot of great things in terms of the progression of their women talent. Now, I have a couple of ideas as to, I do have a couple of reasons as to why this is the case right now with the WWE and their women. One, I genuinely think that they do want to make their women a showcase in their product. You see that with Alexa Bliss getting so much airtime. You see that with Nikki Cross being aligned with her. You see that with a lot of women's wrestling matches that do occur on their programming in multiple phases. SmackDown, Raw, NXT. But how are they being utilized? And in many cases, they actually aren't being utilized whatsoever, because it brings me up to my first point, which is I believe they have way too much talent. The WWE, and you can say this the same with the men, because of the AEW effect, and I do believe there is an AEW effect, and Impact Wrestling as well, securing talent, Major League Wrestling as well, that's out there, that's actually building a name for itself. The WWE wants to grab as much talent as possibly can so that they can block those companies, in my view, from achieving a great amount of buzz and success that the WWE feels that they could capitalize on, which is one of the reasons why you saw Evolve on the WWE Network. There's been talk of them having test runs on the WWE Network and possibly being a regular occurrence with them and maybe some other independent organizations. The WWE wants their hand in the cookie jar as much as they can, so they're securing these talents. But as they secure them, what are they doing with them? If you look at the Riot Squad, what have they done with the Riot Squad? Even when they were a faction, they were jobbing out, trying to make Ronda Rousey and others look better for the benefit of those people, but to the detriment of themselves. And now you have Liv Morgan doing absolutely nothing whatsoever on the SmackDown brand. Sarah Logan has been apparently revamped into something different, but we barely have seen her at all. And Ruby Riott, who is currently injured, she really hasn't done anything as well. So when you really look at it, the Riot Squad you can look at them and like, what in the world are they doing with them? And even when they are healthy, what are you going to do? So they need to be repackaged. You look at Naomi, who is a WWE women's champion over the SmackDown brand. She's on Raw right now, and I assume it's to accommodate her husband. But she's really done nothing on the Raw brand. Ronda Rousey is gone. You also have Becky Lynch, who is the current Raw Women's Champion, but it seems like when you look at her momentum has completely diminished compared to where she was 5, 6, 7 months ago, and there's a lot of reasons for that. She doesn't have a strong heel presence to basically be the foil of, and there's just so many issues surrounding the women. You have Alexa Bliss, who's extremely talented, in my view, on the mic, but she's not a great wrestler. She can't carry a match. She has to have somebody that's going to be a prominent person to really carry the match and really make it look believable. But there's only so much you can do with a moment of bliss. And we've seen that time and time again. There hasn't been a lot of compelling situations through that so-called talk show on Raw or SmackDown. The only one I can really think of is with Bayley a few weeks ago prior to their match on a pay-per-view, and the WWE really failed to capitalize completely on that. Sasha Banks is gone and doesn't seem to want to come back at any point soon. So there's so many question marks surrounding the WWE and their women's revolution. And what I see is the WWE in hindsight, and you really have to start thinking about this, was this really something that was manufactured for just publicity because it was the end thing to do with women succeeding in different forms of entertainment, and the WWE wants to piggyback on that? You have Ronda Rousey come in, and all of a sudden it's like the biggest thing in the world. You have women main eventing WrestleMania, but you turn it into a cluster when you want to initiate certain people to be involved in it, a la Charlotte Flair, when it really wasn't necessary. So, even after the fact, after the match, what have you done with the women's division and making it the important part of your program? If anything, it's regressed back to where it was before in a secondary role on your program. So they haven't really built stars because they have so many stars there. You have writers who are all over the place. Vince McMahon has a vision of how things are supposed to be, but how clear is his vision? And we have seen with the dwindling of ratings, it's really not clear at all. So you have so many people up and down. I haven't even mentioned about the so-called Kabuki Warriors, or whatever the hell that's supposed to mean, with Asuka and Kairi Singh. You know, you had the Sky Pirates, which was fantastic in NXT, and then with your own agenda, you feel as if you can manufacture that same type of success on a main roster brand, and they barely are even on TV, and when they are on TV, it doesn't make any sense, and you have Paige with them. So basically, overall, you can kind of get with my tone. There's a lot of issues surrounding the WWE and their women's so-called revolution, and you have to say to yourself, is it really a revolution, or is it just some manufactured BS that ultimately has fallen flat on its face because it may not have been as genuine as initially thought by the fans? So you have to really say that about the situation, because what we're seeing literally play out on TV every week is kind of an extension of that thought process. I think the only way that you can really kind of say it isn't that is because you have key people that are out, and such as Ronda Rousey as well as Sasha Banks, and those are really big blows to the division. But even before those key individuals were out, you could still see how manufactured the entire revolution really felt. So I really feel as if the WWE wants to get a stranglehold and really build this women's division on Raw and SmackDown. Just like with the men, there needs to be a clear and clean reboot of almost everything and start from scratch. And hopefully with the emergence of Eric Bischoff and Paul Heyman, that can occur. I'm not sure about Sasha Banks. I'm really not sure if she's going to be back with the WWE anytime soon, but you can't rest your laurels on that. They have too much talent, too many women that are in place. You have a lot of great things with Shayna Baszler on NXT, and we want to see the women on NXT have a progression of success on the WWE main roster. But history has shown us on way too many occasions with the likes of Asuka, Ruby Riott, and so many others, that likelihood, the likelihood of that occurring is probably a lot less than we think. And it might be best for a lot of those key NXT talent on the women's side to stay where they are until the WWE can get their crap right with the women that they have right now. But overall, that's my views right now when it comes to the women's revolution. Don't buy into the marketing stuff you see with the WWE. There probably are several people that legitimately care about a women's revolution in that company. But the key people who are in control of the storylines and the control of the overall progression of the WWE, of the WWE in general, probably don't feel the same way as some of those people who have a passion for it. So, as fans, we can just hope that the WWE will get their act together with Fox securing SmackDown and that debuting in October, and with Paul Heyman taking over on the Raw brand. Hopefully that too is genuine, and Vince McMahon can give Paul the freedom and creative freedom that he will need to make that work. And we'll find this out toward the end of the year, because if we don't see any sign of progression, then we know that both of those guys were pretty much fall guys, and Vince McMahon is really the one that's in charge of everything. But please leave some comments, any suggestions that you might have in terms of additional topics that you would like for me to cover on the 19th episode of Spec Commentaries. As I mentioned before, I'm going to continue to do these more frequently, possibly every week, once I do have time on my hands, and just sharing my overall thoughts about one specific topic, either in the world of professional wrestling or entertainment in general. If you would like to like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube, that would be fantastic. My YouTube page, www.youtube.com/spectacularsunset, as well as my Facebook page, which is www.facebook.com/bspecprod. But overall, thank you for listening to the 18th edition of Spec Commentaries. Where is the revolution? The women's wrestling in the WWE. Take care, everyone, and be spectacular.